There were no hunter-gatherers. They date back to being on Earth 12,000 to 10,000 years ago. But based on the history I study and know, we are part of advanced civilizations dating back well beyond 12,000 years ago. The civilization of Atlantis, which was one of the highest, most evolved civilizations, existed from 68,000 BC to 9,558 BC. Atlantis had high technology, astrological prowess, crystal cities, intergalactic travel, and a level of consciousness that was much higher than ours today. Our technology back then far surpassed ours. We grew crystal gardens and had anti-gravity. There were no hunter-gatherers in the sense that mainstream science has been narrating and trying to have us believe. There were advanced civilizations dating well beyond 200,000 years ago. There may have been some small tribes that hunted and gathered, but that would be like the tribes today in Africa amidst the rest of the population, which does not. They are a minority amongst our populations. There were two massive civilizations that were extremely technologically advanced. The civilization of Atlantis and the civilization of Lemuria. Both had interstellar travel, open interaction with ETs, and many of our ancient buildings had landing stations for ships. The flat part of the ziggurat pyramids were made for the landing of ships. But let's look at facts. The site of Göbekli Tepe was highly advanced. This is one of the most ancient sites recorded, dating back to 12,000 BC, and that was at the end of its construction. The lost city of Dwarka, Krishna's golden city, which sank under the waves as noted in India's ancient scriptures, and is dated to have been above water around 10,000 BC, was far more technologically and architecturally advanced based on what was found underneath the sea water. And pyramids that marvel our building. There were not just one or two civilizations in our entire history. Our entire planet is covered in remnants and artifacts that each day we discover more about how intelligent our ancestors were. These dates are not the beginning of these civilizations. They are the end dates. We had higher, more advanced civilizations back at the latest minimum 10,000 BC, so let's retire this false narrative. Misinformative story where the first civilization arose in 8,000 BC and for thousands of years after we were nothing but hunter-gatherers. This is so far from the reality, it's a joke. Each day, more proof of our intergalactic history becomes evident as we study the mathematical genius and ingenuity of the stone-cutting work done by the ancient builders, which we cannot even come close to achieving today. It is obvious that anti-gravity and some form of laser or plasma technology was used to cut the stone, or a form of a chemical mixture, or sound cymatics technology was used. The hunter-gatherers would have been the exiled minority of the planet, in that they would have had to have been cut off from the many massive advanced civilizations that were all around our world and history. The Sphinx is at least 10,000 years old, and that is a marvel in itself. But for humans to have been demoted to hunter-gathering when we had technologically advanced civilizations and active Stargate sites and constructions, all created with advanced technology, there would have to be something wrong with the humans to digress to such a primitive form of living, where they were not able to interact with some of the advanced civilizations that were the leaders then in order to live in better environments. We do have some tribes today who hunt and gather, but I bet that back then, it was the same ratio and proportion of them as it is now. The proof is all around us. One just has to investigate.